Hey y'all, welcome back to At the Table podcast. I am your host Fikayo and welcome back. Oh my goodness, I have missed you guys so much. Like just being able to come here and talk to my invisible friends, it really is like it just makes my heart feel so good. There is so much to talk about in this episode. I think this episode this will probably be the most transparent episode that I will make. And I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see what it looks like at the end. So I hope y'all are excited as well. But before we start anything, we have to ask, have you been praying? I have been praying. And recently what I've been praying for is my friends. I really just want God to bless all of my friends, all of us, and like above everything, I just want all of us to be happy in everything that we do later in life. And I'm not talking about fake happiness. I'm talking about all of us being actual really happy and content with wherever we find ourselves in life. And that's right now really been on my heart. I hope you've been praying, but if you haven't, just say a short prayer for your friends, tomorrow morning before you leave the house or when you're in the car, just pick a specific person and just say, I hope it's well with you, How was that? That was good? Now it's time for our next part of the segment, or our next segment. And this segment is, what have you been snacking on? And it's basically, if you're new here, it's basically just what's on the top of your head when you want to talk about something. Like, what is right there in the front? What is the forefront of your mind right now? What have you been snacking on? Me, I don't know. I do this every single episode, but I don't know. I did my taxes yesterday, and when I tell you I'm so disappointed, I don't know. Like, I promise you, when I'm working, I feel like Uncle Sam is taking a lot. I feel like he's biting a lot out of my paycheck. But when I get my tax return back, I don't feel like I'm getting all of what he bit. You feel me? And obviously I'm not. I'm learning about like Social Security and a Roth IRA and all of those beautiful, beautiful things. But I walked out of there so sick yesterday because I think I expected more. But it's okay. This is adulting. This is what it looks like, apparently, doing your taxes, doing your own doctor appointments, or scheduling your own doctor appointments, apparently, and doing all the things. But it's a lot of work. And I just thank God for where I am in my life right now, because I feel like I've been given the opportunity to kind of tiptoe into adulting and kind of like come into it into my own pace. Some people are pushed into adulting, or some people are shoved. I don't feel like there's been any pressure for me to do anything I'm not ready for. And even with like taxes, of course I have to do taxes, but I told my parents, I'm ready to handle my own taxes. And they're like, okay, go ahead, instead of just being forced to do it. But adulting is real. The point of this podcast is to adult together, for real. So I don't know, this is also just a reminder. If you haven't done your taxes, please go do your taxes. The IRS, they don't play. They do not play about their money. They love their money. Please, go do your taxes. And claim everything that you're supposed to claim, and report everything that you're supposed to report. Please. Tax evasion is not cute. Jail is not cute either. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for indulging with me for that first part. Now let's get into it. I'm really excited for this episode. I really, really am. And what I wanted to talk about first was essentially every week, and I know that like I've talked about this before, but I'm gonna like keep doing it. And this is like, we're growing together. I'm growing with y'all. I don't want to come on here and act like I know exactly what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. It's a part of the process. And sometimes I don't know how to come on here. I don't know what to show up as. I don't know what to talk about. I just don't. No. And I know that, like, for this beginning part of the year, I've definitely been more encouraging 2021, 2023 goals, habits, and blah, 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 and journaling. And I wanted to talk about that as well, because I'm going to come up here and I'm kind of about to talk about the same things, just a little bit, but we'll get a little bit more personal. I'll give you guys some more depth. But I am one of those people who hyperfixate. So it can be anything. It can be anything. But if I have piqued an interest in something, I will explore all of the depths of it. I will look through, inside, around. I will listen to podcasts about it. I will watch YouTube videos about it. And sometimes it's good. Like now it's actually pretty productive. I'm kind of in this whole like running, productivity, wellness kind of hyperfixation, and I love it. I love it so much. But there have been times where I hyperfixate on things that do not serve me in the slightest. There was a time where I hyperfixated on dogs because I thought I was going to get a dog. So I think for 3 months straight, the only thing I watched on YouTube were dog videos. Mind you, I had class, mind you, I had school. But even like while I was supposed to be studying for a test, I would be thinking about dogs. Can you imagine? Oh gosh, I've had so many, and depending on the season, depends on the severity as well. It is so bad, and it's something that personally I've come to know about myself, and something that I have had to become conscious of, just to make sure that my hyperfixations are actually productive and actually useful. So if I am talking about productivity and wellness a lot right now, it's because that's the stage of my life that I'm in, and this is what's on my brain. This is what's encouraging me. This is what's moving me. This is what I do on my free time right now. So I know. But let's even talk about how I got here. Let's talk about what happened, because this didn't happen in January, as it may seem. The beginning of this actually started in August. During this time, I had just finished school, so I was back home. I had gained a lot of weight during this time too. I think this is one of the heaviest I've been in my entire life. And I wasn't okay. Like, I wasn't happy. There was something that was sucked and drained out of me, and it was really, really bad. I also do experience a little bit of anxiety and depression. But my anxiety, it shows up in a different way. I would like to say personally, I don't know how it is for everybody, but for the experience of anxiety that I have had, my anxiety can get very, very bad. But anxiety also, to me, and how I choose to interpret it, is it's almost like an alarm system from God that, babe, something is up, something is wrong. There's something we need to attend to that you're not attending to, that you're being negligent of. You need to get on it right now. And my anxiety, that feeling can become so overwhelming for me. That feeling, and usually also, I should mention that, usually it is that I am neglecting something, that there's something in my life that needs to be attended to, or I'm spiraling downward and I don't realize it. So the anxiety comes to like warn me, like, you are not okay. You are not okay. Like, you need to get up and you need to do something, like, for real. And it can get so overwhelming that I wake up in hot sweats. Like, my anxiety is what wakes me up. It is so intense that it becomes its own person, its own character in my life, and it like controls me. It is the worst experience ever, and I just can't live like that. So I think in August or September, I had just had it. I was tired of feeling this way. I was tired of dealing with this person that was anxiety and depression. I was tired of like feeling the weight of her in my life, and I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. I think it was like 1 a.m. I got my phone out and I went on betterhelp.com and I got a therapist. Mind you, I've had therapists in various different parts of my life. This is not my first, second, third, or fourth rodeo. But I got a therapist that night, and I think maybe 3-4 days later, I was introduced to Miss... let's not do that. I was introduced to my therapist. Let's not say her name. And I remember the first time we talked. Oh, gosh, God bless her. She was amazing, you guys. I was a mess. I was a complete, beautiful, disgusting, unrecognizable mess. And I just needed someone to listen to me. I needed to be able to tell someone everything that I was going through, and they be able to carry it and do something productive with it. And that's very important, because it's one thing for someone to listen to you talk, but it's another thing for someone to be able to give you advice. And it's not all the time you want both, but I think at that time I needed someone who could tell me how to get the hell out of what I was feeling. So we had our first meeting, and I was rambling, just talking. And she asked me a question. She said, Addie, what is your anxiety to you? Who is your anxiety to you? And in that moment, I knew exactly what she meant. So I began to explain. I said, Miss Blank, this is how my anxiety is. And I said to her, imagine my headspace is a room, right? And in this room, there are tens of balloons. And these balloons are duties. These balloons are responsibilities. These balloons are expectations that I have of myself and other people have of myself, and things that I need to get done. And all of my thoughts and all of my worries, all of them are in this room, and they're all balloons. And they have helium inside. So these balloons actually all rise to the surface. And I feel like, and they're big balloons. They're very big balloons. And I feel like a person in the corner just getting overwhelmed by all of these balloons. And then she said, okay, Addie, do we pop the balloons? And I said, no, Miss Blank. We don't need to pop the balloons, Miss Blank. What I need is I need to grab a rock, and I need to grab a string, and I need to grab the balloon, and I need to tie the string on the balloon, and I need to tie the string on the rock, and I need to place the rock down. And hopefully by the time I've done that with all of the balloons, I can now see, well, they're not overwhelming me, but I can see the top of all of the balloons. We don't pop them, we ground them. And from there, I think she knew exactly what I needed. That's when I started actually literally grounding techniques. And I started, reframing my ideas. During that time as well, when I am depressed, I do tend to be very pessimistic. So during that time, there were just things that were going on in my life that I didn't understand, and I didn't know how to yield them for good. So let's say it's raining, right? I go to Miss Blank and I'm like, it's freaking raining. Why is it raining? And she would be like, Addie, the flowers need to be watered too. So you see how that changes, the idea, the thought, the usefulness of it. So yes, it is raining, but there is something that is benefiting from this rain as well. So it doesn't make you necessarily hate the rain. It teaches you how to adapt to the rain and also understand the purpose of the rain. So I could use that in situations in my life. Why is this happening? Well, because I'm going through this, I'm also learning this. So I guess it's okay for now, but I do need to get on top of it because it cannot stay like this, Or why is this person treating me like this? Well, maybe this person's treating me like this because of this. It just gives you perspective. And I think that was something that I really, really needed. Also, I needed to be grounded. I really, really did. And this is where this takes us into the whole mindfulness and everything that I was talking about. She told me that, Addie, you need a baseline. I didn't have any structure in my life at this point. And she was like, you need a baseline. You need something that is going to tell you when you're okay and also tell you when you're not, if that makes sense. You need a metric. Like, you need something to align yourself with. And she was like, what can you do in your life that can be constant, that if you don't do this thing, you know that you're falling too low, but it's also a standard of like your everyday life and what you're going to do. And I think then we talked about keeping physically fit. Well, we talked about mind, body, and soul. I remember mind was like, learning things, like taking classes. Body was keeping fit, and soul was going to church. So we did that. I went to church for soul. For body, I think then I had started cycling or something. That didn't last, but we'll talk about that later. And then for soul, I was going to church, and I also coupled journaling with this as well. So these three things are essentially a baseline for me in my life. At every given time of my life where I am healthy or I'm okay, I should be able to do these things. And from there, it kind of it sparked in me. It gave me structure. It really, really did. So this was in August. By September, I was going to the gym. I was going to church every week, sometimes twice a week, and I was journaling like crazy. And what was that other thing? And I was taking a class as well. So those main facets were taken care of. And from August to about December, I saw a tremendous change in my life. Like, I just saw how good I was doing, especially also meeting with Miss Marcus, and we talk about the things that I was doing, and if it needed tweaking here, we tweak it here. If it needed changing there, we change it there. If it needed alterations here, we'll change it and we'll make alterations there. But like, doing these things consistently and just setting a structure for myself that would protect me from my thoughts or becoming overwhelmed, or essentially becoming overwhelmed with the balloons in the room, really, really helped. And this is my plight with the church, actually, because I feel like the church, they throw all of these great, beautiful concepts out, like grace or endurance, like strength, or like holiness, but they don't talk you through how to do it. They don't give you practical skills on how to do it. And this is why I advocate for therapy, and therapy that coincides with the way you think and you rationalize and you see the world around you. That's why I go to Christian-based therapists, because I want to be able to tell them something and then that they'll understand, that has to do with like God, and then they'll be able to tell me things also that I'll understand that has to do with God too. So it already goes, the advice that they're going to give me will automatically, some way, somehow enter my pre-existing lifestyle or pre-existing perception of life, right? And yeah, I really advocate for therapists. I think everyone should have one personally. This is why I believe in therapists. Because yeah, you can give me all the wood to build the house, but if I don't have the tools, that house isn't getting built. Like, how will I do it? Literally. Like, yeah, I know the picture, I know what it's supposed to look like at the end, but if I do not have the tools, how will I build that house? And even if I have the tools, how will I know a hammer is supposed to do what a hammer does? You have to teach me how to use them. And that's my biggest problem with the church. Like, they are supposed to teach us how to become strong, or how to deal with your thoughts, or how to like live the life of holiness. I feel like everything is so vague, and it's a bigger picture for later, but I really think that everyone should have a therapist, so that when you're given the tools, you then know how to execute using the tools. And then also, if you're using the tools incorrectly, they can redirect you and tell you, that's not how you use that. This is how you use it. So that ultimately you're building the house the best you can. And with this metaphorical house is basically your life. Like, I don't know, get a therapist. But that's how I kind of started my whole journey. It wasn't easy. It definitely wasn't easy in the beginning. It wasn't necessarily even fun. It was something that I had to do out of necessity. Because at that point, I had realized that if I continue like this, I will do nothing with myself. And oh my goodness, it really, really hurt me last year because I think, and then coming into this year, I started doing like, end of the year reflections and stuff. And then I realized that I had nothing to be proud of from the year before. And I'm not sure if it wasn't that, or I'm not sure if it was that I wasn't living intentionally. I'm not sure if I wasn't counting the things that I should be proud of. I have no idea. But I came out of that year feeling like I had achieved nothing, that I had no fruits from that year. And I decided in December, I was like, 2023 will not be that year for me. I want to be able to say in 2023 that I am pulling something out of 2023, that I have learned this skill in 2023, that I kept up with this thing in 2023, that I was disciplined, that I was consistent, that I worked my butt off just for a year. I gave myself that year to work really, really hard to make something. You guys. So when you see me and I am here and I am running every morning, I'm not running because I have nothing to do. I'm running because I know where I was, When you see me and you see me reading, I'm not reading because like I have nothing to do. I just want to be counting letters. I'm reading because I'm trying to pick something up, that's going to change my life. I really want the best for all of us this year. I really do. I really, really do. That's why I'm even making this community. I even made this podcast so that for the girls who are trying, for the girls who are growing, for the girls who are learning, for the ones who are really pushing, you're not alone. Girls and guys, sorry. But you're not alone because I'm with you. Me too. I want better for myself. I want better for my friends. I want better for all of us. And if like you listen to this podcast and you're like, this podcast made me feel a little bit more hopeful, or this podcast encouraged me to get a therapist, like, do you know how much it'll make my heart happy just to know that I'm not speaking into this microphone for nothing? I don't know, y'all. That's really what I wanted to talk about today. I just wanted to encourage anyone, literally anybody. You can do it. You can do it. And if we got to do it together, we'll do it together. But you can do it. You have no idea how much I believe in you. You have no idea how proud I am of you. I know it was hard to get here, but I am so proud of you. But baby, there is still so much to go, and you can do it. Do you hear me? All right. If you hear this and you want to see the face behind the voice, follow me on Instagram at Fikayo, Fikayo. I'll think about getting an Instagram for this podcast, but y'all, it's a lot of work to do all that stuff. I'm doing a lot, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure all of those things out. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please DM me, talk to me, call me. If you have my phone number, let me know. But yeah, I think we are done, sweetheart. It is time to clear the table and wash off the dishes. Please, please, please subscribe. I'm begging you, subscribe. Do you subscribe on here? I don't know. Everywhere you are, follow, subscribe, hit the like, all of it, the stars, all of it. It will help me get out to other people. And I want to see other people. I want to meet other people. So share me, please. I don't know. I think that's it. I am Fikayo. Thank you for having me in your ears. I love you so much. And please remember to pray every day and laugh really,